welcome all our dear viewers, and this is another captivating installment of our exclusive video series, FibreCraft Insights, Unveiling the Strength of GFRP. So let's take a moment. For those who cannot see our last episode, we talked about technical marvel. So this, our second episode, was in two parts. So in our last episode, part one, we discussed about the mechanical properties. We discussed about the tensile strength, shear strength, bond properties. And today our focus would be on the long-term behavior of this remarkable behavior. So let's get started and welcome Mr. Pierre Hofmann, our guest and knowledge partner in this video series. Thank you, Pierre, for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Pierre, well, when we talk about a critical infrastructure project, I mean, they're designed or they're expected to stand there for 50 years, 70 years, 100 plus years. So durability is of utmost importance in such cases. So how do you see GFRP performing in such cases?
Thank you. It's, of course, an extremely important question. So practically, the consideration is to ensure the product will last and perform over time. And so there are two main considerations. On one side, there's the many mechanical stresses applied to the product that will have an impact. And on the other side, the environment. As far as mechanical is concerned, we are mostly concerned, and we want to address creep. Creep is actually maybe better known as static fatigue. It's the fact that the material will lose some of its ultimate performance under a constant sustained stress. So we have done a lot of tests at Dextra. We follow international standard that allow to calculate the million hour retention. Million hour retention is extremely interesting because it's equivalent to 120 years lifetime, which is excellent for very long projects. So we apply different stress level to GFRP, and we can get this million hour retention, which has been established to be 54% for our main product. So rule of thumb, we just apply a safety factor of 2, and we can tackle those long-term application stresses. When it comes to environments, again, the codes provide guidance with accelerated aging in what we call alkaline environment. So it's a very aggressive environment, very high pH, between 12.6 and 13, very high temperature, again, to simulate accelerated aging. And the requirement is to have at least 80% retention over 3 months, which simulate the full project life. In our case, we have value consistently above 85%, which is the value that is recommended to use in the ACI 440.11. So with these two factors, 0.5 based on the creep and then 0.85 for the environment, we have the full factors to apply to the loads to get the permanent application.
Absolutely. So I just extend the question in the very first episode when we had released this, one of our audiences, viewers, they had asked this question. So let's take an opportunity to address this here. So they wanted to know more about the applications in the marine environment, how GFRP has advantage over the conventional material like steel and concrete. So let's take this opportunity to address them here.
Well, GFRP works very well in humid, environment. So typical coastal area, which the air is polluted. You see behind me a bit of water and GFRP. They coexist very well. I would say it's important to understand the main limits of steel and especially concrete reinforced with steel. Once we place rebar in concrete, we want to mitigate the corrosion. And so the different solutions are either to coat the steel rebars. So typical coating available would be epoxy coating, would be zinc coatings with galvanization, or it's even possible to consider other type of steel like stainless steel. All these solutions, they will have some limitation over time. When there is contamination or the coating gets damaged, the coating has a certain lifetime, then corrosion starts. And to another mitigation for that is to increase the concrete cover. So we purposely increase the distance between the surface and the steel bar to delay that corrosion. But again, at some point corrosion occurs. And once corrosion starts, the corroded steel, the red rust, takes 4 times more volume than the healthy black steel. And that will this increase of volume will open up cracks, bringing more oxygen and more water, which literally makes the corrosion phenomenon exponential and therefore big damages. So the beauty of GFRP is once you factored for alkali and creep, as I mentioned just before, you cater for everything that will occur over time. GFRP doesn't have any loss of mass, change of volume, and so we can place the GFRP rebar very close to the concrete, to the surface, so we can reduce the concrete cover. That means that concrete on the skin, on the outer skin, on the surface, now is reinforced with GFRP, very, very close, and that limit the risk of crack. So whether the structure is fully in GFRP or if GFRP is only used on the outside, it's the best way to remove corrosion, but also limits the risk of getting cracks. And so that's really the main feature. Corrosion doesn't exist with GFRP, and therefore we can place them very close to the surface. And in some cases, we can even reduce the volume of concrete by reducing the concrete cover.
Excellent, excellent. So that really explains why GFRP is the preferred solution in the marine environment. Thank you, Pierre. Now, in today's increasingly eco-conscious world, if I say, the sustainability is a key consideration for a selection of any alternative materials. So how do you see the benefits of GFRP here in terms of carbon footprint or the impact on the environment, how it is better?
It's a vast topic, but I'll try to be very brief. I would say the first impact is for the reason we just mentioned, we build concrete structure that will last longer. So that's already a big commitment to reducing the carbon footprint, because you don't have to do repairs and you don't have to rebuild that concrete structure again and again. So it's already a reason in itself to be a massive reduction. Second is the GFRP rebar in itself. On average, we cut down the CO2 emission compared to traditional steel rebar by about 2/3. 60-70% reduction on most projects on the rebars. And for the reason I mentioned also earlier with the concrete cover, and I would say some other aspects, there are projects where we managed to reduce the quantity of concrete consumed as well. In those projects, we generally managed to reduce the embodied carbon, the CO2 emission, by 50% for the whole concrete structure, not just the rebar, but the rebar and the concrete. We have projects we reach 50% reduction, which is massive. Last but not least, GFRP, because there's no corrosion, it opens the door to what is called SSC, Sea-Sand Seawater Concrete, or in the US also called CCON. And that's also opening the door. We can use crushed concrete to create new aggregates, sea sand, seawater, just adding cement and GFRP rebar, and we get a very green concrete because we use material readily available, especially in marine environments. So for all these reasons, there are plenty of huge opportunity for sustainability, and definitely GFRP is the best solution to address that.
Okay, very, very well explained. Thank you, Pierre. And I think this is where we take a pause. We'll hold for it today, and in the subsequent episodes, maybe we would like to know more from you about the actual products made of GFRP. Maybe we'll talk about rebars, rock bolts, anchors, soil nets, etc. And we'll see how they are actually used in the real infrastructure projects, and they add value for our customers. So thank you very much once again for all our audiences. Thank you for great response you are giving us for our existing earlier episodes. Please let us know if any specific topics, questions you have in your mind, and we'll try to address those in the subsequent episodes. So until then, please take care of yourselves. Bye-bye.
Thank you.